Soraya's knees burned against the frozen ground as snowflakes stung her face like tiny needles. Her mother's voice echoed in the winter night, sharp and unyielding. "You kneel here until you renounce this sin, this abomination." That was the last time Soraya saw her childhood home in upstate New York, the door slamming shut behind her, leaving her 18-year-old self to shiver in the dark, wondering if love was worth this exile. Years later, at 28, Soraya stared out the window of her sleek Manhattan apartment, the city lights blurring into a haze of memories. She had built a life from the ashes, a successful marketing executive, her own circle of friends who celebrated her for who she was. But the scar from that night never faded. It festered in her chest, a constant whisper of betrayal by the woman who should have protected her. Parker, her partner of 5 years, wrapped her arms around Soraya from behind. "You're thinking about her again, aren't you?" Parker's voice was soft, laced with concern. Soraya nodded, leaning into the warmth. Parker, with her no-nonsense attitude forged from her own battles against a conservative family in Texas, understood the weight of unspoken wounds. The invitation had arrived 2 weeks ago. A crisp envelope from her mother, Evelyn, announcing a family reunion in their old hometown. "It's time to heal," the note read, signed with a flourish that screamed false piety. Soraya's first instinct was to burn it, but something darker stirred inside her. Healing. After Evelyn had called the police on her that night, claiming Soraya was a runaway influenced by deviant forces, after years of silence, broken only by sporadic judgmental emails quoting Bible verses? No, this wasn't about healing. This was an opportunity for closure on Soraya's terms. As she packed her bags, doubts crept in. What if facing Evelyn reopened the floodgates of pain she had so carefully dammed? Parker sat on the bed, folding clothes with deliberate care. "You don't have to do this alone," she said. "I'll be right there." Soraya smiled faintly, but inside turmoil raged. Parker was her anchor, the one who had pulled her from the brink when she first arrived in the city, homeless and heartbroken. Their love had blossomed in a support group for LGBTQ youth, where Parker's fiery spirit ignited something in Soraya she thought was lost forever. But bringing Parker into this lion's den felt like risking everything. What if Evelyn's venom poisoned their relationship? The drive upstate was tense, the highway stretching like a vein back to her past. Soraya gripped the steering wheel, her mind replaying the confrontation that had shattered her world. It started innocently, a high school crush on her best friend, Mia, that Evelyn discovered through a hidden journal. "This isn't you," Evelyn had screamed, dragging Soraya to church counselors who preached conversion therapy. When Soraya refused, the punishment escalated to that fateful night in the snow. Kneeling there, Soraya had whispered promises to herself. Survive, thrive, never look back. But now looking back was inevitable. Arriving at the family home, a quaint Victorian house now showing signs of neglect, Soraya felt a chill unrelated to the autumn air. Evelyn opened the door, her face lined with age but eyes still sharp. "Soraya, my girl," she said, arms outstretched. Soraya stepped back instinctively. "Mother." The word tasted bitter. Inside, relatives milled about. Aunts, uncles, cousins who had once turned a blind eye to her suffering. Parker stood by her side, a silent sentinel, but Soraya could sense the undercurrent of stares and whispers. Dinner was a minefield. Evelyn dominated the conversation, reminiscing about better times, when Soraya was such a good girl. Soraya's Aunt Margaret chimed in. "We've all prayed for you, dear. God forgives if you repent." Soraya's fork clattered against her plate. Inside, rage bubbled. How dare they? She had spent years in therapy unpacking the trauma they inflicted, while they hid behind scripture. Parker squeezed her hand under the table, a reminder to stay composed. But composure cracked when Evelyn turned to Parker. "And you are?" The question hung like a guillotine. "Parker's my partner," Soraya said flatly, watching Evelyn's face pale. The room fell silent. Evelyn's lips thinned. "I see. Well, this is a family event." The implication was clear. Parker wasn't welcome in her definition of family. Soraya's heart pounded. This was the moment she had dreaded and anticipated. "If Parker's not family, then neither am I," she retorted, her voice steady despite the storm within. Murmurs erupted, but Soraya stood, pulling Parker with her. As they left the dining room, Evelyn followed, her voice low and urgent. Don't do this, Soraya. Think about your soul. That night, in a nearby motel, Soraya paced the room, her mind a whirlwind. She hasn't changed, she muttered. Parker sat on the bed, watching her. Neither have you. You're stronger now. But was she? The encounter had unearthed buried resentments, making Soraya question if revenge was worth the emotional toll. She thought of the cold gift she had prepared, a legal document outlining the inheritance Evelyn had promised but never delivered, now contested in court. It was her way of hitting back, of making Evelyn feel the sting of loss. But holding it in her hands, Soraya wondered, am I becoming like her? The next day brought more confrontations. At a family picnic in the park where Soraya used to play as a child, cousins approached her with feigned concern. Your lifestyle. It's hard on your mother, one said. Soraya's response was measured but cutting. My lifestyle is love. What's hard is her hate. Inside she screamed. Why must I justify my existence? Parker, ever the protector, deflected barbs with sharp wit, but Soraya saw the strain in her eyes. This trip was testing their bond, forcing Soraya to confront if her quest for justice was selfish. As evening fell, Evelyn pulled Soraya aside in the garden. I did what I thought was right, she said, tears glistening. To save you. Soraya's chest tightened. Part of her wanted to forgive, to end the cycle. But memories of frostbitten knees and lonely nights fueled her resolve. You didn't save me. You broke me. The words hung heavy, a declaration of war. Evelyn recoiled, and in that moment, Soraya felt a twisted satisfaction. But at what cost? Back in the motel, Soraya collapsed onto the bed, exhaustion seeping into her bones. Parker hovered nearby, her usual confidence shadowed by worry. Talk to me, Parker urged, sitting beside her. Soraya stared at the ceiling, her thoughts a tangled mess. Forgiveness sounded noble in therapy sessions, but here, facing the source of her pain, it felt like surrender. I can't just let it go, she whispered. She ruined my life. Parker nodded, but Soraya detected a flicker of doubt in her eyes. Was Parker questioning this path too? The following morning, Soraya met with her lawyer via video call. The inheritance dispute was solid. Evelyn had verbally promised Soraya a share of the family estate, but after the expulsion, it was rewritten to exclude her. We can push for mediation, the lawyer said. Soraya agreed, but inside, she relished the idea of Evelyn squirming under legal scrutiny. It was her cold gift. Not just money but a mirror to Evelyn's hypocrisy. Parker watched from across the room, her silence speaking volumes. Is this really about justice or punishment? Parker finally asked after the call ended. The question stung. Soraya turned away, pretending to organize her suitcase. Parker was right. The line between the two blurred in her mind. Their relationship had always been a safe haven, built on mutual healing. Parker had fled her own family's rejection after coming out, finding solace in New York City's vibrant queer community. They met at a pride event, where Parker's bold laugh cut through Soraya's isolation. But now this vendetta threatened to consume Soraya, pulling her away from the life they shared. At the family brunch, tensions escalated. Uncle Harold, a staunch conservative, cornered Soraya. Your mother's heartbroken. This phase of yours. Soraya cut him off. It's not a phase. It's who I am. Her voice rose, drawing attention. Evelyn intervened, her face a mask of composure. Let's not air dirty laundry. But Soraya pressed on. Dirty? Like forcing your daughter to kneel in snow until she nearly froze. Gasps echoed. Evelyn's eyes widened in shock. For the first time, Soraya saw cracks in her mother's facade. Parker pulled her away, whispering, You're shaking. Outside, Soraya leaned against the car, breaths coming in ragged bursts. I had to say it, she said. Parker hugged her. I know. But remember why we're here. Why were they? Closure or conquest? As they drove to a local cafe for respite, Soraya's phone buzzed. An email from her cousin Lila, who had witnessed the snow incident as a teen. I should have spoken up then. I'm sorry. The message cracked something in Soraya. Not everyone in her family was complicit. That afternoon, Soraya met Lila in secret at a park bench. Lila, now a mother herself, confessed. Aunt Evelyn was terrified of what the church would say. But it was wrong. Soraya listened, her anger softening slightly. Lila revealed Evelyn's health issues, a recent heart scare that prompted the reunion. She's trying to make amends in her way. Soraya's mind reeled. Was this manipulation or genuine regret? Returning to Parker, she shared the conversation. Parker's response was cautious. People change, but so have you. Don't let pity cloud your judgment. The evening brought a pivotal dinner at Evelyn's insistence, a private talk with just the three of them, Soraya, Parker, and Evelyn. The atmosphere was thick with unspoken accusations. Evelyn started haltingly. I raised you in faith. When I found out about your preferences, I panicked. Soraya's fists clenched. Preferences? It's love, Mom. Evelyn flinched at the word Mom. Parker interjected gently. Mrs. Thompson, we've built a life together. Soraya's happy. Evelyn's gaze shifted to Parker, assessing. Is she? Or is this rebellion? The words ignited Soraya. Rebellion? You threw me out. Evelyn's voice cracked. I thought tough love would bring you back. Tears streamed down her face. For a moment, Soraya saw vulnerability. A woman shaped by her own rigid upbringing. But then Evelyn added, the Bible says. Soraya stood abruptly. I don't need your Bible. I need a mother. Storming out, she left Parker to handle the fallout. Outside, alone in the car, Soraya wept. Was she pushing too hard? Parker joined her soon after, silent but supportive. That night, doubt plagued Soraya. In bed, she turned to Parker. What if I'm wrong? What if she deserves a chance? Parker sighed. You decide that. But think about us. This is draining you. Soraya nodded, but sleep evaded her. Dreams replayed the snow night, morphing into visions of Evelyn alone and frail. Waking in a sweat, Soraya realized the cold gift might freeze her own heart. Yet, the pain demanded reckoning. The next day, a surprise visit from Parker's estranged sister, who had tracked them down via social media, added layers. I saw your posts about the reunion, she said. Parker's family misses her too. Parker tensed. They disowned me. The sister pleaded. Give them time. It mirrored Soraya's dilemma, forcing her to question her hypocrisy. If she demanded Evelyn change, shouldn't she encourage Parker to reconcile? But Parker shut it down. Not now. As the reunion weekend peaked, Soraya attended a church service with the family. Evelyn's ultimatum for peace. The pastor preached on forgiveness, his words piercing Soraya's defenses. Sitting beside Parker, who held her hand defiantly, Soraya felt exposed. Whispers from congregants fueled her inner conflict. Am I the villain now? After the service, Evelyn approached. See? God welcomes all. Soraya's retort was biting. Does he welcome me as I am? Evelyn hesitated, then nodded faintly. It was a small crack, but enough to plant seeds of uncertainty. Back at the motel, Soraya confided in Parker. Maybe there's hope. Parker smiled sadly. Or maybe it's a trap. Their conversation turned intimate, revealing fears. Parker admitted, I'm scared this will break us. Soraya pulled her close. It won't. But deep down, she wondered if her pursuit of vengeance was betraying the one person who truly loved her. The turning point came midweek, when Soraya received a call from her lawyer. Mediation was set for the following day in a neutral office downtown. Evelyn had agreed, surprisingly. Soraya's stomach knotted. This was it, the confrontation she had orchestrated. Parker drove her there, the silence between them heavy. Whatever happens, I'm proud of you, Parker said as they parked. Soraya squeezed her hand, but inside guilt gnawed. Was she dragging Parker into her chaos? Inside the sterile conference room, Evelyn sat across the table, flanked by her own attorney. Her eyes were red-rimmed, a vulnerability Soraya hadn't anticipated. The lawyers exchanged pleasantries, but Soraya cut through. This isn't just about money, Mother. It's about accountability. Evelyn's voice trembled. I never meant to hurt you. Soraya laughed bitterly. Yet you did. That night in the snow. Do you even remember? Evelyn bowed her head. Every day. The mediation dragged on, revelations spilling like opened wounds. Evelyn admitted to regretting her actions, influenced by church elders who labeled Soraya's orientation a test of faith. I lost my daughter over pride, she confessed. Soraya's resolve wavered. Hearing her mother's pain humanized her, clashing with years of built-up resentment. Parker, waiting outside, texted encouragement. Stay strong. But strength felt elusive as Soraya grappled with empathy versus justice. By session's end, a tentative agreement emerged. Evelyn would restore Soraya's inheritance share, plus a written apology. It seemed like victory, but Soraya felt hollow. Driving back, she confided in Parker. It doesn't erase the past. Parker nodded. Nothing does. But it's a step. That evening at a family gathering, Soraya announced the resolution. Reactions varied, some applauded, others grumbled about modern nonsense. Uncle Harold pulled Evelyn aside, whispering disapproval, but she stood firm. For the first time, Soraya saw defiance in her mother. Yet betrayal lurked. Later that night, Soraya overheard Evelyn on the phone with church friends. It's just to keep peace. She'll come around eventually. The words shattered Soraya's budding hope. Storming in, she confronted her. You lied. Evelyn stammered. I didn't. But the damage was done. Soraya felt foolish for believing change was possible. Parker, witnessing the scene, urged retreat. Let's go home. But Soraya couldn't. This deception fueled her fire. The next morning, Soraya escalated. She shared her story anonymously on a social media forum for LGBTQ survivors, detailing the snow incident without naming names. It went viral locally, sparking discussions on family rejection. Evelyn called furious. You've humiliated me. Soraya's response was calm. Now you know how it feels. Inside, triumph mixed with regret. Was public shaming the cold gift she intended? Parker expressed concern. This could backfire. Soraya dismissed it, but doubt seeded. Ripples spread. Cousins distanced themselves from Evelyn, Lila openly supporting Soraya. At a coffee meetup, Lila revealed, the church is pressuring her to disavow you again. Soraya's heart sank. Her actions had isolated Evelyn, mirroring her own past exile. Moral ambiguity weighed heavy. Was she justified or vengeful? Parker, sensing her turmoil, suggested therapy upon return. We both need it. A surprise visit from Evelyn that afternoon intensified the drama. She arrived at the motel, alone and disheveled. Please, let's talk. Soraya allowed it, Parker standing guard. Evelyn poured out her soul. I was wrong. Seeing your pain. It breaks me. Tears flowed freely. Soraya listened, torn. Part of her wanted to embrace, to heal. But memories held her back. Why now? She asked. Evelyn admitted. My health scare made me reflect. I don't want to die alone. The confession hit hard. Soraya thought of her own fears, of losing Parker, of perpetual loneliness. Parker interjected softly. Everyone deserves a second chance. But Soraya hesitated. Forgiving felt like betraying her younger self. As Evelyn left, promising change, Soraya collapsed into Parker's arms. What do I do? Parker held her. Follow your heart. That night, insomnia gripped Soraya. She paced, replaying every hurt, every slight. The cold gift, the legal win now seemed petty. But Evelyn's overheard call lingered, breeding mistrust. In the darkness, Soraya whispered to herself. Am I fighting for justice or perpetuating pain? Dawn brought no answers. The reunion's final event, a barbecue, became the battleground. Relatives buzzed about the online post, sides forming. Uncle Harold confronted Soraya. You're tearing the family apart, she retorted. It was already broken. Evelyn stood silent, her allegiance unclear. When pressed, she defended Soraya. She's my daughter. I love her. The words stunned everyone, including Soraya. Was this genuine? Parker pulled Soraya aside. See? Progress. But Soraya remained wary. As the day wore on, private talks revealed more. Evelyn had begun attending inclusive church groups, seeking understanding. It chipped at Soraya's armor. Yet, when Evelyn hugged her goodbye, Soraya stiffened. I need time, she said. Driving away, relief washed over her, mingled with unresolved anger. Back in Manhattan, normalcy beckoned, but the trip's echoes lingered. Soraya threw herself into work, avoiding deep reflection. Parker noticed. We can't ignore this. A heated argument ensued. Parker accusing Soraya of emotional shutdown, Soraya retorting that Parker didn't understand the depth of betrayal. I do. Parker yelled. My family did the same. The fight exposed cracks in their relationship, born from unhealed wounds. In the aftermath, Soraya sat alone, contemplating. The cold gift had evolved. Not just legal papers, but the mirror she held to Evelyn's face. But it reflected back on her too. Was revenge worth risking her future with Parker? Weeks passed in a blur of routine, but the rift with Parker widened. Soraya buried herself in projects, her mind a fortress against vulnerability. Parker tried bridging the gap with small gestures. Favorite coffees, late-night talks, but Soraya's walls held firm. I need space, Soraya said one evening, regretting it instantly. Parker's eyes filled with hurt. From me. The question hung unanswered as Parker left for a walk, leaving Soraya to stew in self-doubt. Had her quest for closure cost her the one true constant? Evelyn's calls came sporadically, each laced with tentative olive branches. I've joined a support group for parents, she shared in one voicemail. Soraya listened, conflicted. Part of her yearned for reconciliation, but pride and pain blocked the path. Lila texted updates. Evelyn volunteering at LGBTQ centers, a stark shift from her past. She's trying, Lila wrote. Soraya pondered. Could people truly change, or was it facade? A breaking point arrived when Parker announced a work trip to California. Maybe time apart will help, she said, packing with mechanical precision. Soraya's heart clenched. Don't go. But words failed her. As Parker left, kissing her forehead, Soraya whispered, I love you. Alone in the apartment, emptiness amplified her inner monologue. You've pushed her away, just like your mother pushed you. The irony burned. Desperation drove Soraya to therapy, where she unpacked layers. I'm afraid of being hurt again, she admitted. The therapist nodded. Forgiveness isn't absolution. It's freedom for you. Inspired, Soraya drafted a letter to Evelyn, not accusatory but honest. I want to understand, she wrote. Sending it felt like shedding armor. Evelyn's response arrived swiftly. An invitation to visit, alone this time. Hesitant, Soraya flew upstate, nerves frayed. Evelyn greeted her at the door, looking friendlier. Over tea they really talked. Evelyn shared her own story. A strict upbringing suppressed doubts about faith. I projected my fears onto you. Soraya listened, empathy budding. It doesn't excuse what you did. Evelyn agreed. No. But I'm sorry. The apology, unadorned, cracked Soraya's defenses. Tears flowed as they hugged, a tentative bridge forming. Returning home, Soraya called Parker, who was still in California. I miss you. Parker's voice softened. Me too. How was it? Soraya shared the visit, the budding hope. I'm trying to let go. Parker paused. That's huge. But underlying tension remained. When Parker returned, they confronted the elephant. The argument's fallout. I felt sidelined, Parker confessed. Soraya nodded. I was scared. But you're my family. Healing wasn't linear. Setbacks came. Evelyn slipping into old judgments during a call, triggering Soraya's anger. But communication improved. Parker suggested couples counseling, which they embraced. Sessions revealed mutual fears. Soraya's abandonment issues, Parker's need for validation. Working through them strengthened their bond, turning wounds into wisdom. Society's pressures persisted. At a work event, Soraya faced subtle homophobia from colleagues, echoing family dynamics. She stood tall, channeling inner strength. Parker, her rock, celebrated small victories. You're unbreakable. But Soraya knew fragility lingered. A reminder of growth's cost. A family holiday approached, Thanksgiving. Evelyn extended an invite to both. Soraya accepted warily. Arriving with Parker, the atmosphere shifted. Relatives, influenced by Evelyn's changes, offered genuine welcomes. Uncle Harold remained aloof, but others engaged. Dinner conversations flowed, touching on acceptance. Evelyn raised a toast. To family in all forms. Soraya clinked glasses, a mix of skepticism and optimism swirling. Post-dinner, Evelyn pulled Soraya aside. I have something for you. It was the inheritance documents signed over fully. No strings. Soraya stared. Why? Evelyn smiled sadly. Because I love you. The gesture, devoid of manipulation, thawed the last ice in Soraya's heart. But acceptance came with caveats, boundaries set firmly. Back in New York, Soraya reflected on the journey. The cold gift she once planned had transformed into mutual understanding. But costs were paid. Strained relationships, emotional exhaustion. Parker, sensing her pensiveness, asked, "Regrets?" Soraya shook her head. It was necessary. As winter neared, memories of the snow night resurfaced, but less painfully. Soraya volunteered at the support group where she met Parker, helping others navigate rejection. It gave purpose to her pain. Parker joined, their shared mission deepening their connection. Yet, doubts whispered. Had she compromised too much? When Evelyn visited the city, old tensions flared over a casual remark about traditional values. Soraya challenged her, maintaining boundaries. Evelyn backed down, learning. Progress, albeit slow. In quiet moments, Soraya pondered the moral maze. Forgiveness versus accountability. Where did one end, the other begin? Parker's unwavering support anchored her. But Soraya knew true peace came from within. The story's climax unfolded unexpectedly. A health scare for Evelyn. Another heart episode brought Soraya rushing back. At the hospital, Evelyn whispered, "Thank you for coming." Soraya held her hand. "You're my mother." In that vulnerability, bonds mended. Parker arrived soon after, her presence a testament to chosen family. Recovery brought deeper talks. Evelyn admitted lingering biases but committed to unlearning. Soraya in turn shared her fears. The exchange fostered empathy, turning adversaries into allies. With Evelyn's recovery, family dynamics evolved. Holidays became inclusive, with Parker welcomed warmly. Soraya marveled at the shift, but vigilance remained. Society's broader battles, legislative threats to LGBTQ rights, mirrored personal struggles, fueling her advocacy. She spoke at events, her story inspiring others. Parker beamed with pride. "You're changing the world." Yet, internal conflicts persisted. Soraya questioned if full forgiveness was possible, or if guarded peace sufficed. Therapy helped navigate. Healing isn't erasure. Parker echoed this, their relationship stronger for the trials. A betrayal surfaced when Uncle Harold leaked old family emails to a conservative blog, painting Soraya as the aggressor. Online backlash ensued, trolls targeting her and Parker. Soraya's job suffered scrutiny, her boss questioning distractions. Rage reignited. Why must she fight endlessly? Parker rallied support, mobilizing friends for counter-narratives. Evelyn publicly denounced Harold, severing ties. "Family protects," she declared in a statement. The act solidified her change. Navigating the fallout, Soraya confronted Harold at a mediated meeting. "You betrayed us." He defended with outdated views, but Soraya's poise dismantled his arguments. Hate loses. Walking away, empowerment surged. But the incident scarred, reminding her of societal prejudices. Parker proposed during this chaos, a quiet rooftop moment. "Through it all, you're my choice." Soraya accepted tearfully. Planning the wedding invited new dilemmas. Inviting Evelyn? After deliberation, yes, with conditions. The ceremony, intimate and affirming, symbolized triumph. Evelyn attended, beaming. "I'm proud." Post-wedding, life settled into rhythm. Soraya advanced in her career, launching a diversity initiative. Parker pursued her passion in graphic design. Their home a sanctuary. But reflections on the journey haunted. The snow night's chill, the cold gift's evolution. Evelyn's visits increased, bonds deepening. She shared regrets openly, fostering trust. Soraya reciprocated, vulnerability breeding connection. Yet, mended doesn't mean unbroken. Occasional clashes arose, resolved through dialogue. As years blurred, Soraya pondered the narrative's lessons. Love demanded sacrifice. Hate, isolation. Her story, once private pain, became a beacon. Parker, her eternal partner, reminded, "We won." In the end, closure wasn't a destination but a process. Soraya stood taller, scars as badges. But the question lingered, echoing the moral quandary. Was forgiveness a strength, or a concession to the oppressor? With Evelyn's recovery complete, the family embarked on tentative new traditions. Soraya hosted a small gathering in Manhattan, blending old and new worlds. Evelyn arrived bearing homemade pies, A gesture of normalcy. Conversations flowed, touching on politics and progress. When debates heated over marriage equality, Evelyn listened more than argued, a marked change. Soraya noted it silently. Growth takes time. Parker's influence shone. Her Texas charm disarming skeptics. Y'all love is love, she quipped, easing tensions. Post-dinner, Soraya and Evelyn walked the city streets. I see your happiness now, Evelyn said. Soraya replied. It was always there, you just couldn't. The honesty stung but healed. Broader societal pressures loomed. News of anti-LGBTQ bills in states triggered Soraya's anxiety. She channeled it into action, joining protests and petitions. Parker stood beside her, signs in hand. We're in this together. Their activism bonded them further, turning personal pain into collective power. Internally, Soraya wrestled with residual anger. Dreams revisited the snow, waking her in sweats. Therapy sessions delved deeper. Acknowledge the hurt without letting it define you. Parker supported, sharing her own triggers. Mutual vulnerability fortified their marriage. The betrayal by Uncle Harold unfolded dramatically. His leak to the blog sparked a media frenzy. Reporters hounded Soraya, twisting her story. At work, colleagues whispered. Her promotion stalled. This is discrimination, Parker fumed. Soraya sued the blog for defamation, a bold move. Evelyn testified on her behalf. My past mistakes don't define her truth. The win was sweet, restoring Soraya's reputation and exposing biases. Harold's isolation followed. Family shunned him. Soraya felt mixed. Justice served but at familial cost. Did I go too far? She asked Parker. No, he chose hate. The incident underscored moral complexities. Accountability versus mercy. Wedding planning had been a whirlwind. Choosing a venue affirming their love, inviting allies. Evelyn helped with flowers, her involvement touching. The day arrived sunny, vows exchanged with raw emotion. I choose you, flaws and all, Soraya said. Parker's tears mirrored her own. Reception dances included Evelyn, a symbol of reconciliation. Honeymoon in Hawaii offered respite. Beaches soothed souls, conversations deepened. We've come far, Parker mused. Soraya agreed but pondered future challenges. Adoption dreams facing prejudices. Back home, careers flourished. Soraya's initiative gained traction, earning awards. Parker launched her design firm, specializing in inclusive branding. Their life, once fractured, now whole. Evelyn's transformation continued. She advocated locally, speaking at churches about acceptance. Soraya joined once, their joint story powerful. Applause followed, but Soraya whispered, "It's surreal." Yet perfection eluded. A family argument over holidays. Evelyn's slip into judgment tested bonds. Soraya confronted. Old habits die hard. Evelyn apologized sincerely. Forgiveness flowed easier now. Reflecting, Soraya saw the arc. From exile to empowerment. The cold gift? Transmuted into warmth of understanding. Costs paid in tears but rewards in love. The lingering question. In a world of entrenched biases, is personal forgiveness enough? Or must society change first?